I think running or sports, it doesn't matter what kind of sport, especially for women, that it's a good thing to prepare for life, for real life.
If you want to feel different and to experience something great and magical, just put on your shoes and start running. And if you do that in the 261 Women's Marathon, so much the better.
Mallorca means paradise for those who love sports and an outdoor lifestyle. It's a must if you enjoy food, culture, the beach and the perfect weather all in one. On March the 8th, International Women's Day, Mallorca hosted the second edition of a race that will definitely turn the running world in Europe upside down. 261 Women's Marathon. It's not just a competition, it's more than 10 or 42k. The perfect chance for more than 1,000 women to prove how much they can push their limits. Palma de Mallorca is one of Spain's top tourist destinations. There's always a touristic element about marathons. When people sign up for races abroad, they don't just do it because of the marathon itself, but because they're also looking to spend a weekend in a new city or somewhere attractive to them. That was the main reason to choose Palma de Mallorca. But before they started putting on their running shoes, it was time to pick up the bib numbers and walk around the 261 Expo. All the latest running trends were present, and it was the perfect place to take in the multicultural atmosphere that surrounded the event, as the race gathered runners from all over the world.
This race is really unique. Being able to share it with Catherine, a personal hero to me, is also very special. She is a person who irradiates strength, joy and positivity wherever she goes. She is also very thoughtful and relentless, so sharing this race with her and to see myself as a part of this wonderful project is something that makes me feel very special.
That was Vanessa Vega, one of the best Spanish marathon runners in history, talking about Catherine Switzer, heart and soul of the event. It was thanks to her that the role of women in sports changed forever back in the 70s.
When I was 19, I first heard about this amazing race called the Boston Marathon.
The world's most famous foot race even attracts a leggy lady, Kay Switzer of Syracuse.
The morning was sleeting and snowing. I had on a heavy warm-up suit, and from a distance you couldn't tell me from the men. And the gun went off. Down the street we went, about 2 miles into the race. The press truck came by us, and one of the officials was the co-race director. He jumped off this truck, ran after me and tried to rip off my bib numbers. I was wearing 261 at the time. But my boyfriend, who was running with me, who was a massively big football player, threw a cross body block into the official, sent him out of the race instead, and I went on to finish. It was at that moment that I decided, as frightened as I was, that I was going to finish this race no matter what, on my hands and my knees if I had to, because I knew that this official was only attacking me because I was a woman in his race, didn't believe women could do this, didn't believe we should be there, and I wanted to prove him wrong, and I wanted to prove that women deserved to be in the race. So it was very, very important for me to finish.
The start and finish lines couldn't be more spectacular, placed right beside Palma de Mallorca's cathedral. It was, no doubt, the perfect place to enjoy the track among friends and to break personal marks. Its flat route, just above sea level, was perfect for those who love speed, as Daniela Sirlan does.
And I'm happy to hear because I heard too many good things. To Palma de Mallorca, you have very beautiful beach, and I want to like this. We try to run 2 hours 45. I will follow this tempo and I will see, because I think I will, after 20 kilometers, I will run alone, and I think she will be a little difficult with Windy. And I hope this year I will go to World Championship in China. And maybe next year I will try to go to Olympic Games in Brazil.
Women can do everything. And I think that every day, more and more women are into sports, especially going out for a run. It doesn't matter if it's a 10K or a marathon distance, but the sport is growing every day because everybody wants to be more fit, to feel better, and to live a healthy, joyful life.
After many months of training, the moment of truth was finally here. Time to leave doubts behind and run. Those who chose to run 42 kilometers were the first ones to hear the gun going off. And just a couple of minutes later, it was time for the 10K runners to hit the road. It was an amazing day. Mallorca as a whole set out to encourage the best runners. But most importantly, the hundreds of unknown runners that filled Mallorca's main streets with bright colours. We've achieved an extremely flat track with a total elevation change of 60 metres in the marathon and 12 metres in the 10K race. The course is located at sea level, which is extremely important to get good times in long-distance running. We made it a 3-lap race in this first edition on purpose, so we could get more spectators in the streets cheering for the runners along the way. It was all smiles from the beginning, since time and records are not the main focus of this race. However, big names in athletics could be seen at the front. Vanessa Vega, Laura Benguria, Beatriz Antolin, and mountain bike legend Marga Fullana being some of them on the 10K, and Daniela Cirlan, Marta Jimenez, and Noelia Mora on the 42K. But the day before such an effort, there is one thing you cannot forget to do. Yes, that is to have pasta for lunch. The pasta party was hosted by the Vicente Ferrer Foundation, who donated part of the registration money to fight discrimination of women in India. Well-known faces such as actress Woo Sun-yoon had lunch with all the runners.
They called me from the Vicente Ferrer Foundation, and after I started doing some research on the plans they have and the goals that the race tries to accomplish, I was overwhelmed by the beauty of their project. It's not just about running 10K, but more about the combination of nutritional support for the most needy women and children of the world, and sport, which knows no borders. I thought it was something really beautiful to be a part of.
They had such a nice time that they almost forgot that they were there to accumulate carbs to burn on the streets the next day.
Catherine's movement is something that requires a great deal of passion. She has been doing it for many years, and she has never lost her passion, not for one moment. I'm always amazed by her.
Back into 10K again, Laura Benguria and Vanessa Vega's fight for victory was the best part of the day. Sebastiana Yabres, Beatriz Antolin, Nicole Fischer, Wafa Asdal and Marga Fuyana tried to catch them again and again. But after some time, it was clear that it was impossible to reach them. In the end, it was Vanessa, Olympic athlete, Spanish marathon champion and mother of three, who won the 261 10K for the second time in a row. Laura Benguria was second, and mountain bike world champion Marga Fuyana finished in third place. Dong Liu, 1500 meters world champion, ended up in 8th place and was hugged by Catherine Switzer, just like any other finisher.
I'm really, really happy. The race went great, the crowds were fantastic and really helpful. And also to see that many women running together for a good cause such as women's rights. I think it makes you run even faster. This is a special day, a celebration of sports and women, and I'm really happy to be a part of it. It was wonderful being able to share podium with Vanessa Vega, who is an amazing athlete. Also, the moment we had at the finish line with Catherine was really special.
And we're back to the race with the magnificent backdrop of the Palma de Mallorca Cathedral and with Daniela Sirlan leading the way for the marathon distance. The athlete from Romania ran with a pacemaker during the first section of the race, which allowed her to achieve a steady and fast speed. Not too far behind, the other runners followed her footsteps.
I like this concept because I saw in many races, in many marathons, many men runners. I think more than 75% they are men. And I like to see many women to run marathon. And I'm happy because Palma de Mallorca give opportunity to the women to run and enjoy.
And especially women often are afraid to do it, to compete or to do races. And so they're also afraid, I think, in real life, but it is about many, many years ago when women were not allowed to do anything what they wanted. And as Catherine showed us with her first marathon, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, you can do what you want and you can reach the goal.
The day before the race, a breakfast run was held in the surroundings of the cathedral. Catherine Switzer is aware that her courage back in the 70s has turned into a movement that has helped thousands of women around the world and wants to stress its meaning. There's no need to be afraid. And she's the one to personally carry that message to the 261 runners by doing some warm-up and a training session with them before the actual race.
261 is all about the old bib number in the Boston Marathon that the official tried to pull off of me. And how it became a number for Fearless is really amazing. It was very organic. People just began sending me pictures of them wearing 261 or inking it on their arms or sending me tattoos. It was really astonishing. What's happened since last year with this wonderful number and this race is that it has formed a movement, a global movement among women who are embracing fearlessness and using 261 as a vehicle of communication. It's like it's a universal language, sort of like running or music is a universal language. And they know 261 means fearless, overcoming challenges, and they're forming this interesting community of talking to each other, sharing their stories, and in a way, becoming more fearless because they have friends who are. We're cheering for you at the Malaysian Women's Marathon. We're sisters around the world, and we're all 261 fearless.
The perfect ending for a perfect day was the speech given by Ana Ferrer from the Vicente Ferrer Foundation, Dong Liu, Asia's 800-meter record woman, and Vanessa Vega, one of Spain's top athletes.
It's a terrible thing, but most of the women in the world live in a fearful situation. Most of them do. And anything you can do to change their lives, to improve it, to give them a chance to step up, to move out, to gain their own power is very, very important.
And we're back to Marathon Day, where runners are enjoying a gorgeous day running by the sea in beautiful Mallorca. The views of the sea and the cathedral seem to take away for a moment the thoughts of the hard kilometres still waiting ahead. The atmosphere in the city makes this race even more special. A large part of the race goes along the promenade so that the athletes can run next to the sea. The start and finish line are located next to the Palma de Mallorca Cathedral, and the marathon track goes back and forth between two of the most important harbours of the city. It then goes to Mallorca's downtown through the boardwalk, which is a touristic hotspot. That's the place where runners can be cheered on by the tourists visiting Palma de Mallorca. It's extremely important in long-distance running to feel the energy of the people cheering you on as kilometres go by.
I really think it's great. I mean, in Stockholm, it's more, go girls, you can do it, but don't strain yourself, it might hurt. But like here, it's more like, do all you want to do, like you can be the best. And that feels really good.
And there we have Daniela Cirlan again leading the way in the marathon. Now on her second lap, followed closely by Marta Jimenez and Noelia Mora in second and third place respectively. Cruising along the promenade lined with luxury yachts and palm trees, the runners kept accumulating kilometres in their running shoes. The gap between Cirlan and the other athletes grew bigger all the time, but that didn't stop Jimenez and Mora from putting on quite a spectacle, taking turns for the second and third places. The gentle sea breeze would help them achieve the main goal for the day, to cross the finish line and become 261 fearless.
Running is phenomenal because it's easy, it's cheap, it's convenient. All you have to do is put one foot in front of the other. You look at the Kenyan women or the Ethiopian women as examples of women who come from extreme poverty, become enormously successful, and they've changed the fabric of their villages because they can take money back or become role models for the community. If that could happen from country to country, from religion to religion, from culture to culture, we can make phenomenal change. I'm utterly convinced of that.
And sport is easy for us nowadays and in our world, in our civilization. It's easy to have some running shoes, to have some clothes and to go out. And so you can strengthen yourself to go out also with family or in the work life and to reach your goals.
That was Astrid Siebert, the Austrian athlete who was facing the marathon distance for the first time with great results. In the streets of Mallorca, Jimenez and Mora were facing the last lap of the race, running together and giving all their best. But Sirlan was an unstoppable force. The pacing of the Romanian athlete was one of pure determination to shatter last year's record. Daniela Sirlan arrived at the finish line in 2 hours, 51 minutes and 8 seconds, becoming the 2:61 marathon winner and slicing 5 minutes from last year's time by Beatriz Molina. Noelia Mora and Marta Jimenez followed Sirlan, arriving hand in hand at Parc de la Mar in 3 hours, 20 minutes and 54 seconds.
On the race, I feel okay. My body was good. A little bit windy. Every lap, 5 kilometers windy was in front, and I'm not a very strong runner. I'm very skinny, and when it's windy, I have a big problem. But I'm happy. I ran to 50 to 51, so it's my first race this year. I'm happy. I like the people. They call me, and this make me feel happy.
As runners kept crossing the finish line, the atmosphere at Parc de la Mar was matchless. Getting to that point was a milestone for every single runner, and the warm welcome they had made them feel even happier. The prize-giving ceremony was held afterwards and included not only cups, but beautiful floral crowns and pearl necklaces.
I'm so glad it's over. So glad. Like, you have no idea. But it felt pretty good, actually. I thought it was going to be worse than it actually was. Except that I kind of want to cut off my feet and never use them. Aside from that, it's pretty good.
2:61 Women's Marathon is a movement that has crossed all borders and has united women from all over the world, under the belief that making a change is possible.
Today was an amazing experience. Again, like last year, it was the sense of spirit of the women who were hugging each other and saying what country they were from, even though they didn't speak a common language. Because everybody understands this language of running. And today they were bonding and they were cheering each other back and forth. And everybody who came into that finish line and hugged me said thank you. It was amazing because we had given them something that nobody can take away from them.
It was Daniela Sirlan, Noelia Mora and Marta Jimenez that led the 42K. But on March the 8th, over 1,000 women from 23 different countries followed their dreams in Mallorca. The perfect place to show the world that being fearless is the way, and to create bonds that will make women stronger and more fearless than ever before. Because every little step can lead to reaching a goal, be it big or small. Will you be fearless?
I would say you never underestimate the power of your own capability, that you can do much more than you ever dreamed. But you'll never understand it until you go out and take the first step. So put on your shoes, go out the door, and just take the first step.